Didi from Cheese Skills.
Hi, I'm Armand, also from Cheese Skills, and
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year, Happy 2021,
Yeah.
and may this be a great year for you.
Absolutely. Make all your dreams come true.
Yeah.
And
Well, today we have a podcast, of course, and I think this new year is the start for a lot of people making New Year's resolutions and like what you want to change and new behaviors, new training, and of course also maybe your diet. You want to make changes.
This is, I think, the January is the time when most people think, okay, let's do something about my food. Let's change.
Absolutely. We're coming from the Christmas
December
dinners,
month,
and although they were a little bit different this year, of course, there was lockups and everything like that. So, but still, yeah.
And what we want to talk about today is what kind of phases you go through when changing your food.
And change in general, I think, right? What are difficulties that you can encounter? Yeah. What lies between you and getting your resolution, getting it done? What's in the way for most people? Yeah.
To be aware to have some awareness on what other aspects are there when you make a change in your life.
Absolutely, yeah.
But as I talk a lot about food, it's good to first look at changing your food.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's also a very good one.
Yeah,
just to start with. Right?
Oh yeah, because sometimes people think, okay, I'm gonna change my diet, and it's just a changing of food. It's just something you do. You change the sugar for honey, and then you're done. Well, no, that's not how it works.
Right.
If you really want to make a change, if you really want to start eating what's good for you, then it's not just changing some ingredients for something else, but it's a whole mindset thing as well.
Of course, yeah.
It's something you do every day. It's so ingrained into your daily life.
Yeah, and it's such a large part of your energy, the energy you get into your system every day.
Absolutely.
So whatever you want to change, start with food is the best place to start, isn't it? Yeah,
and every step you take, you get more energy to make more changes.
Yeah.
So as it is so ingrained into your day, you see that, we were talking about, what we do for years now is having a warm breakfast.
Yeah.
But to get a warm breakfast on the table, you need to do something different.
Oh, yeah. It's a challenge. In the beginning, it's a challenge.
Yeah, absolutely.
It takes extra time. It takes calculating. Yeah.
And also to find out what kind of warm breakfast is right for you. Because we were cooking different breakfast for me and for you, and then combining the two.
Yeah, experimenting.
So it took us some,
trial and error, and just to get to the place where we're happy now, right?
Absolutely.
So, and that was quite a challenge, because sometimes especially in the beginning when you make these changes, and of course, our motivation is energy. How do we feel? So, but you need a sort of point where you turn things around, but you don't turn them around immediately. So it's going to take some extra effort to prepare. And then it takes a while for that energy to become more stable and higher and everything, and your system to warm up. And then it becomes easier. So there's always this challenge you first have to go through, right? The first thing you have to do is like, okay, I want to make a change. Be clear on what you want to change. So you want to change your breakfast. and then you have to go through the change itself before it becomes like a constant. And I think we're talking about this piece in the middle now, which is the hardest, right?
Challenging.
That's the challenge for every change you want to do.
But I love the thing that you started with. First, have a very clear idea of what you want to change.
Yeah.
And I was reading a lot about foods, and as well, I told before, I loved cooking and preparing food, which is such a gift.
Yeah, a passion.
A passion for it. So it was easier to make that change.
Yeah.
But then you're busy and you want to have a warm breakfast. When are you preparing? When were we preparing breakfast? Normally we would just open the fridge and get our breakfast out. And now we had to make a change because we were preparing our breakfast the night before.
Exactly.
So we needed to find time the night before to prepare our breakfast. So it got into our daily routines to do something different. And so it's with every little step.
Yes.
You change, you want a warm breakfast? Okay, so you need to make time somewhere else to prepare it.
Yes, you have to find time or you have to make time. There's a little bit, there's a little bit of a difference, right? So in the beginning it's like, because it's, I don't know about you, I know you of course, but I know myself, for me it's very hard to change a habit. And this is probably for most people, but you have to make the time to change, right? I mean, yeah.
So this is just a small example. This is the thing that you have with yourself, the kind of changing your routines, but be aware of it, that if I want to make a change there, I need to do something else at another point as well. And so step by step, you really implement it. And then it's becoming normal and it doesn't take as much effort. But sometimes I heard people say it takes 21 days to get into a routine.
Yeah.
So stick to this routine for at least 21 days.
I would say just take a month.
Yeah,
just to be safe. It's just okay. I mean, a tip can be just put it on a calendar, right? You make a calendar and you can give yourself a gift. You're giving yourself a gift, right? By doing it already. But you can also, how can you challenge yourself to make the change, the thing that you really want? And we were lucky with each other.
Yeah, that we both wanted it. Yeah. And that we had each other to... and sometimes it's challenging as well. Sometimes one of us wanted to do it, and the other one says, "Oh, no. I'm tired. Yeah. I don't want to put in the effort today." But mostly the one who wants the better thing wins.
But we were lucky. Yeah. We are so lucky that we want to evolve and make changes, and a lot of the things is that. Some things are different. I mean, we're also on different, our own path, but we share a path as well, and I'm so happy we have that. So that can be a challenge, right?
I hear a lot of clients saying, "Okay, I want to change my food." It can be about anything, but my clients come for their food, and they say, "Oh, but my family doesn't want to change."
Exactly. And then what?
And now what? So. What I tell them is, okay, start with yourself. You don't want to change your family. It's your choice to start changing this habit. And most of the time you can make a change at breakfast and lunch, because normally most families don't really eat those meals together. No. But you have to be so much stronger if you're doing it on your own in an environment where other people just eating the...
So there's a double challenge, you could say.
Yes.
So there's first you have the challenge you want to change, right?
Yeah.
Because you're fed up with this or with that, and you have more insight, like, okay, I want to go that way. And then we have the second challenge. It's like, now my family, but it's not the family per se. It's still the person. Still the person has to change that as well, because so many people are used to putting themselves second or third or fourth or whatever, instead of saying, it's like, I always say this to my clients, right? It's like in an airplane, right? What do they say at the beginning? It's like, okay, first put on your own mask, right? When something happens, and then put one on the other, not the other way around.
No.
So you have to make that change as well. So it's a change in a change, in a challenge in a challenge. But when you cross that border, and when you can achieve that and say, okay, whatever happens, I'm gonna make this change. And if I have to cook double, or make sure that they're cooking themselves or preparing their own breakfast because you don't have that time anymore, that's gonna be a huge shift for you as a person.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're putting yourself first. And we don't learn that, right?
No.
We learn completely the opposite.
Most of the time we do. Yeah. So and then that's your family. And mostly what I see with clients as well is when they make the change and they cook these great breakfasts, and then their children want to join, as this looks much nicer than their bread with peanut butter. So what you see if you give the example that people, but first, some people when we first, and still about warm breakfast, some people think a warm breakfast, that's strange, and that's the conditioning that we're in.
But it was so funny that, I don't know, it's like a couple of days ago we were talking about, like, we had this guy, a plumber, come in. There was a plumber coming in the house, and we don't have like a typical, I mean, of course we have a dinner table, right? But the rest of our living room is like, a part is kitchen, the rest is training space. I mean, there's no normal furniture. Where's your TV? So this guy comes in, and I'm like, oh damn, I don't have coffee in the house. We don't have coffee in the house. I don't drink coffee. So, and you don't either.
No.
So he's like asking, like, and I ask him, you want a cup of tea? Well, I'd rather have coffee. And I'm like, well, I don't have it. Well, that's what I was thinking. You probably don't have coffee. So with all these changes that we've made so far, we've become very alternative in some people's eyes. But I don't feel alternative at all.
No, it's just every time, I think what we did step by step is looking like, okay, where do we want to make a change?
Exactly.
And then we changed it. So we didn't make all those changes
at once.
No. Every time it's a little step. And by the way, I never liked coffee. I couldn't drink it. So that wasn't a challenge for me.
Well, I do like it, but But it's better not to.
That's
that's another story. Well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but
it is like in Holland. Just to continue about coffee, because it's interesting. We see coffee as a very fashionable drink nowadays. Well, when I grew up, whenever you went somewhere, there was always coffee. There was always coffee available. Tea was still something when I was really younger, a child. And coffee was something that was available. Tea was coming up a little bit. Yeah. You didn't see tea everywhere.
And if there was tea, it was more like standard English tea or something like that. Not all the green tea and exotic teas.
No, not at all. No. So if you didn't like coffee, like I really didn't like coffee, you could drink water, or that was it. And nowadays they really boosted coffee as something very fashionable.
It's lifestyle.
Right? And you see all those coffee places. Yeah. And so drinking it, and that's another thing, there's marketing in there. And that's with a lot of food. There's so much marketing behind it. While drinking your very fashionable coffee, it does something for your image. It does something for your self-esteem. And
it's a social thing. You feel socially accepted if you're carrying like half a liter of coffee. I don't know what it is, but that takes us to the point of the change first with you, then your household, but then there comes the challenge of your tribe. You know, the people that you are, you know, your family, your friends, and well, we've gained friends and we've lost some friends. We can say that,
yeah,
right? By
yeah,
making
yeah.
these changes, because some people just feel threatened by you making changes.
Yeah, and you have to make choices as well.
Yeah.
Like, okay, what do I still accept and what do I not accept if I go out?
Yeah.
Well, now it's hard to go out anywhere,
Well, but
but
take a
still,
look at let's take the holidays, right? Let's
yes.
take
Oh,
Christmas for example, because that's like celebrations and everything. That's when the real bad stuff
it's challenging times.
comes, right?
Yeah,
I mean, the bad
absolutely.
food. And
Yeah,
there's something about sugar, alcohol, lots of
yeah,
meat, things like that.
yeah,
That sort of is related to celebration, and I can understand that from the old days because they were all expensive things, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
you have these couple of times a year that you say, okay, now we have something sweet, and we have the big turkey and
yeah.
everything. I understand that from that view, but now it's become everywhere you go. For us, it's a challenge.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if we go
If
to
you don't want to
family
eat
or
sugar,
friends,
or
or
yeah,
and you eat somewhere, it's a challenge.
yeah,
It's a challenge. Yeah.
yeah. So, and also if you have a job and you work somewhere, or if you work with colleagues.
Yeah.
Well, no, we're colleagues. When we
Yeah.
celebrate, we we eat something healthy. No, and nice. But most of the time, when I still worked in the office, people come in and they celebrate their birthday and they bring cake,
Yeah. Chocolates and
chocolates,
yeah.
cake, and it's kind of not so nice when you don't take it.
Right. So it's a challenge in these situations.
Yeah,
How do you deal with that? Not trying to hurt someone's feelings, but you don't want to hurt your own feelings as well, right? So it's
yeah,
and that's definitely a challenge, and especially with family, colleagues, and
yeah.
you know, there's so much. I think that there's such a social pressure there.
Social pressure,
And
absolutely.
it's not talked about. We're talking about it now, but normally
Yeah,
it's not talked about. It's like it's still a challenge, you know.
yeah,
I won't name the person, but sometimes when I come with this person, he just keeps challenging me. It's like normally I just drink hot water, and it's like, you want tea? I say no, I want hot water. I say, oh, but I have fabulous teas here, and I have fabulous teas here, and you want this, and you want that. I was like, no, you have to. I have to learn. And I have learned
yeah.
to stick to my guns and say, no, you have to learn to say no. And it's sometimes very difficult. The
Oh,
social
yeah.
pressure is, and sometimes it's even tempting. We have that part as well, right? It's sometimes
Oh,
it's tempting to you see these
it's
chocolates
fun.
lying there and you're like, yeah.
It is nice once every while, and especially at some points of the day when you're like, well, everybody knows when you have had a busy day and it's 4 o'clock and you're coming somewhere and they have something on the
Yeah.
table and you're having a cup of tea or warm water and it's standing there and then you're like, oh, I really feel like taking
It's
something.
the triple challenge, right?
Yeah,
But okay, but now we've been talking about this challenge, but let's talk about what how it is when you make this change and the
yeah.
gift you
Oh,
give
absolutely.
yourself, right?
Yeah,
I mean, and that's the challenge
yeah.
to go through this. No, yeah, you know what you want to
Yourself.
change, then you have the implementing of the change, and then it becomes normal, right?
Yeah.
So when it becomes normal, don't be surprised that you feel much better about yourself and everything. And then comes the next challenge because it's a fine-tuning process. So this process, then from there it's like, oh, now I have this result, now I want that, and that becomes an extra challenge. So there's challenge and challenge and challenge, but there's gaining
Yeah.
energy, there's gaining insight, focus, momentum for yourself. What do I want? Standing up for yourself, because in all these challenges are also emotional and spiritual challenges, of
Oh,
course, right?
absolutely.
I mean, it's not only practical, it's
Yeah.
emotional and definitely spiritual.
And I think when you practice changing becomes easier. It's with
Absolutely.
everything you do. When you practice it, it becomes easier.
It's like a muscle,
Yeah.
right? You train your muscles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and and it's easier to say no to people
definitely.
with love, but you can say no.
Yeah.
I don't want that because it's not good for me, but I still love you anyway,
Yeah.
without accepting your food or your drinks or whatever. I still love you, but that's not for me.
And some of these people will actually love you for it because
Yes.
you become an inspiration for them, right?
Yeah.
Because you have to understand that you are not the only one in this challenge.
Oh no.
And there's so many people who want to make this challenge, but they're not in the tribe that they want. That well, of course they have a tribe, but in this tribe it's extra hard for them to make this change. So if they see some people like us, for instance, making that change, they're like, oh wow, this is interesting, and can I come over and can we talk about it? Maybe with Didi we can look at their food and make changes and everything, and then that's one of the greatest gifts, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you pass it on because you are standing up for yourself, you're standing up for your own health and your own spirit, and what happens, you inspire people.
Yeah, and I think so. It's first changing your breakfast, and maybe down the way, and I've seen it many times before. You see people change jobs, they change where they live, they change. So it's getting into what's good for me, what feels good for me.
But that's the word, what feels good for me, because it's all in the experience, right?
Yeah, it's all in the experience, and you cannot think everything. You cannot figure it out by thinking. That's
no. It's not it's not mental that way. I mean,
No.
you can make like a picture of you, how you want to be, how you want it to be, or you can think it over. Oh, this is healthy, or that is good. But it's ultimately it's an experience and a feeling.
Yeah.
And feeling yourself powerful and growing.
And when you feel that you're getting more into your power, then it's easier. Then it starts to become easier.
Definitely.
And it's easier to say no. And there will be challenges on your way while changing. As we still experience, I mean, we've been trained in changing by now.
Yeah.
And still it's sometimes, and the most challenging moments are still with family.
Sure.
With the ones that are close to you.
Yeah, because some people, there's like acquaintances or whatever. I mean, some of these people, some stay, they come, they what we talked about just about is like, well, they grow with you, and some you lose them. But okay, that's fine. But with family,
no, it's the beauty of family, but it's also the thing with family. And some want to change with you, but some won't, and then.
And that's fine.
And that's fine. And so for me and for us, it's to be clear on what we want and how we want to be in that relationship.
Yeah, and don't let it hinder you, right? I mean, that's the biggest challenge is there, right? And we all want to be, belong to some group or want to hear like, oh, you're doing it good, you're doing it right, or whatever.
Yes.
And that's sometimes hard if you don't get that back. You get the opposite back. It's like you're weird now or whatever. Why did you stop eating meat or blah blah blah? And well, but stick to your guns.
Yeah, and I think so. Who do you surround with? I mean, that's also an important one.
Who's your tribe?
Yeah, be so helpful.
Totally.
If you and it's. If you don't know anyone who wants to change with you, who will stick with it, because that's something a lot of people say that they want to change, but do they want to change? So look for people who really want to go for it, and then stick with them and see where they lead you. And sometimes for a short period, sometimes for a longer period. But
those people will appear in your life. If you make these changes, they will appear in your life on the strangest moment. It can be in like in the store, you know, like the biological store. It can be you're talking to someone. It's like, whoa, we share this, and they might say, oh, there's a course there if you do that, blah, blah. Or I'm into yoga, that will be good for you, whatever. A new tribe will form as well. And there's always us, right?
Oh, yeah.
We're on the other side of the lens, so and the other side of your speakers, or your headbuds, or whatever you're listening on now. I think I would love to hear from people. What are the challenges they're facing at this moment? What are your New Year's resolutions?
Absolutely. What are you dealing with?
Yeah.
And what went really well, and what was still challenging for you?
Yeah, just let us know in the comments and reach out. We love to hear from you. And you're not alone. You're not alone. A lot of people want to make changes and actually go through with them, and not only with food, with other stuff as well. And I think we're going to talk about these things as well. It's the same with training. It's every new thing you want to bring into your life is going to be some sort of challenge. The inner challenge, the outside challenge, and making it all work. And I think that's such a big part of what we teach.
Yeah.
It's I mean, a lot of people can understand what's healthy for them, but the challenge is, do you allow yourself the growth and things like that? Yeah.
And so we can I talk a lot about the practical side, the system, and what's good for you in that way. But this is such an important podcast as well, because this is one of the things that keeps you from it, or makes you follow through.
Yeah.
And when you're standing
strong,
and then then you're up for success.
Oh yeah, it's inevitable.
Yeah.
It will happen. You feel better, and you'll kick ass. Yeah.
Please reach out.
Yeah. Let us know.
Share and we keep talking about it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think this is the core of everything, isn't it? It's change, it's transformation.
So thank you for listening.
Absolutely. Have a good one, and see you in the next one. Okay?
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.